Welcome to EduCasts, home of EduCasters. Classrooms aren't the only place conditioning happens. The hallway and the cafeteria are the Wild West of social conditioning. For a popular kid, the cafeteria is a place of reward. Stimulus, entering the cafeteria. UCS, social acceptance, high fives, laughter. Response, confidence, relaxation. For a bullied kid, the cafeteria is a torture chamber. Stimulus, entering the cafeteria. UCS, rejection, lonely isolation, fear of being targeted. Response, anxiety, hunching shoulders. Looking at the floor. This social conditioning is incredibly hard to break. Even years later, at a college party or a workplace break room, that person might feel that same old high school anxiety creeping up. The environment, a room full of peers eating and talking, still triggers the old reflex. Teachers need to be aware of this. When we say pick your own partners, we think we are being nice. But for the socially anxious kid, we just rang the fear bell. We just triggered a stress response. By assigning groups, a teacher can remove that conditioned trigger and create a safer environment for everyone. So, if we have accidentally messed these kids up, how do we fix it? Can we reverse the process? Yes. It's called extinction or counter-conditioning. Extinction happens when you present the conditioned stimulus, the bell, the math test, over and over again without the bad stuff, the fear, the failure. Eventually, the brain realizes, hey, nothing bad happened, and the link weakens. Counter-conditioning is even better. This is where you replace the bad association with a good one. Let's go back to Jason, the kid who is terrified of reading aloud. A smart teacher doesn't force him to read in front of the class immediately. That just reinforces the fear. Instead, the teacher uses systematic desensitization. Step 1. The teacher sits with Jason one-on-one, a safe environment, no audience. Step 2. They read a book that is easy and funny, high success rate, laughter. Step 3. Positive reinforcement. Dude, you nailed that character voice. Now, we are pairing the book, CS, with safety and praise, positive UCS. We do this for weeks. Then, maybe Jason reads to a small group of 2 friends. Then, maybe he reads 1 sentence to the class. We are rewriting the code. We are overwriting the book equals pain file with a book equals okay file. This is also why test prep shouldn't just be about content. It should be about lowering the stakes. If a student takes 10 practice tests and they are low stress, untimed at first, and they see success, the actual test becomes less scary. The scary monster, the test, becomes just a piece of paper. Every veteran teacher has the look. You know the one. You lower your chin, look over your glasses, and the room goes silent. That is classical conditioning at its finest. You don't have to scream. In the first week of school, you established that when you make that face, you mean business. Maybe you stopped the fun activity. Maybe you called someone out. You paired the look with a consequence. Now, in November, you don't need the consequence. You just need the look. The class creates a conditioned response, silence, attention, instantly. This is actually a good thing. It saves energy. It keeps the class running smoothly without constant yelling. But it has to be maintained. If you give the look and then let the kids keep goofing off, the conditioning undergoes extinction. The students realize the bell is ringing, but no food is coming. The signal loses its power. The best educators are masters of these subtle signals. They use proximity, standing near a chatty student, as a signal. They use a specific clap pattern to get attention. These are all conditioned cues that bypass the student's conscious decision-making and tap directly into their habits. It is important to pump the brakes for a second. While classical conditioning is powerful, it isn't everything. Humans are not beagles. We have a prefrontal cortex. We have complex thoughts, motivations, and dreams. Pavlov explains the reflexes and the emotions, but he doesn't explain critical thinking. You can condition a student to be quiet when the bell rings, but you can't condition them to write a brilliant essay or solve a complex calculus problem using just reflexes. That requires cognitive engagement. If we rely too much on conditioning, training kids like pets to respond to cues, we rob them of agency. We don't want robots who just react to stimuli. We want thinkers who can question the stimuli. Furthermore, conditioning works best for simple emotional responses: fear, joy, hunger. It is terrible for complex skill acquisition. You can't classically condition someone to understand the nuances of Shakespeare. You can only condition them to like or dislike the class where Shakespeare is taught. But, and this is a big but, you cannot get to the higher level thinking if the lower level conditioning is blocking the way. If a student is in a state of fight or flight because of negative conditioning, they literally cannot learn. As the educator Maslow famously implied before Bloom, Maslow before Bloom, you have to address the safety and the ceiling, the conditioning, before you can address the taxonomy of learning, the cognition. So, what do we do with this? How does a teacher use this on a Tuesday morning? 1. Watch your entry routine. The first 5 minutes of class are the setup. If you start every class with a chaotic, stressful scramble for homework, you condition students to dread the start of your period. If you start with music, a greeting, and a do now that everyone can succeed at, you condition them to switch into learning mode calmly. 2. Be unpredictable with the good stuff, predictable with the safety. Students need to know the room is safe, predictable. But to keep the conditioning strong, occasional surprise rewards, unpredictable positive stimuli are powerful. A surprise game, a surprise no homework day. These create positive flashes of emotion attached to your class. 3. Check your own bias. Are you accidentally conditioning certain students to hate school? Do you only frown when you look at the back row? Do you only use a sharp tone with the boys? We transmit our biases through these micro-stimuli. We have to be hyper-aware of the signals we are sending. 4. Celebrate the mistakes. To break the failure equals pain conditioning, you have to actively celebrate wrong answers. I love that mistake, Sarah. It helps us see where the tricky part is. If you can pair being wrong with teacher approval excitement, you create a fearless classroom. That is the holy grail of education. Ivan Pavlov showed us that the mind is an association machine. It is constantly looking for patterns, trying to predict what comes next. If this happens, then that happens. In American education, we often focus on the curriculum, the standards, and the data. We obsess over the what. But classical conditioning forces us to look at the how. It forces us to look at the emotional water our students are swimming in. Every day, we are wiring our students' brains. We are linking math with fear or math with challenge. We are linking reading with shame or reading with adventure. We are linking school with prison or school with community. We can't turn this mechanism off. It is biology. It is happening whether we like it or not. The question is, are we going to let it happen accidentally, creating anxieties and phobias that last a lifetime? Or are we going to take the wheel? An excellent educator understands that they are the architect of the environment. They know that a smile is a tool, that a calm voice is a weapon against anxiety, and that making a student feel safe is the prerequisite for making them smart. We aren't training dogs to drool at bells. We are helping human beings build a positive, lifelong relationship with learning. And that starts with understanding the invisible wires that connect us all.